Hey everybody, Don Dabney, Wine Country Guy. You're watching Left Coast Classics. Get in, we're gonna take a ride. Thanks for joining us to check out this cool 50 DeSoto Custom. This car has the coolest story. Now the current owner brought the car over. He didn't tell me. He just said, I got a 50 DeSoto. It's a special car. I heard you're the guy, so I'd like to bring it over. So he brings the car over, and I'm walking around. And I'm like, wow, this is awfully clean. I start looking at the paint closely, and I see it's the lacquer paint. It's the original paint. I open up the door to the interior. I look at the interior and I say, so when was the interior done? He said, it's never been done. This is the original interior. The car has 5,800 original miles on it. So all he knew is that he was told that by the guy he bought it from, I think 20 years ago. It's in the description probably with a little more accuracy because I'm just recalling it now. But I open up the glove box and I find this flyer, and there's a photo of this flyer in the photo section of this listing. And it's an auction for a lady named Minnie Hannah in 1967, and this car is listed for sale as part of this estate sale with 2,900 and so miles on it. And I'm looking at this, and so anyway, I just realized this car was special, and there was more to this car than this guy knew. So we took the car in. There's just nothing to do to it. The hood needs a little help staying up. I think it needs like a new spring or something. That's like it with the whole car, but it really just didn't need anything. So we took the car in, and I started out, put it on a rack, and you won't even believe the undercarriage. Just keep watching this video and you'll see it. I also went through the trouble of walking around the lower part of the car while it's on the rack with a magnet to show you there's nothing going on in the lower part of the body. This is like so original. And anyway, getting back to it, we did all this, and this is what we do. You know, we show you every square inch of the car, all the details, the good, bad, the ugly, whatever it is. You'll see it all here because that's what I do. But I really got so curious about where did this car come from? And so I decided to look up Minnie Hannah, and I found some old news articles. And so she lived in Iowa. That's where this car came from. She was born in 1880, and she was the housemaid for this family, the Colbys. It was just actually a man and a wife, Mr. and Mrs. Colby, and her name was Ellen Colby. And so in 1914, the husband had already passed away, and the widow, Mrs. Colby, passed away. She left Minnie Hannah, the housemaid, all of her money. She left her about $150,000 in 1914. So I went over to Google. You know, I checked out the inflation calculator. So that's like $3.5 million in today's money. So that was a lot of money for the maid to inherit from this family. She apparently must have been very loyal to him and great to them. And she lived frugally the rest of her life, from what I could read from all the research. She died in Iowa in 1967. The car was put up for auction through an auction house that the bank had hired to do it, showing 2,900 and change in mileage. And then it was bought by this farming couple, and I was able to read a little bit about them online, the Hellicksons. And anyway, the Hellicksons bought the car, and I think they're already looking, going, look, it's a 17-year-old car. I know it's only a DeSoto, Ethel, or whatever, but they recognize, they must have, how special it was to already have a 17-year-old car with under 3,000 miles on it. So it looks like they put the car away, and in 1974, the farmer, Mr. Hellickson, he passes away. The 80s come around, and Mrs. Hellickson sells the car to a collector in Orange County, California, who I'm told had a pretty good collection. And he puts it in a heated warehouse and apparently properly stored it, you know, because you could just tell. And my client buys the car roughly 20 years ago from him, and because his wife thought it looked pretty in the magazine where he had it advertised. They bought the car. They've only driven it a couple thousand miles. The car now has 5,867 miles. And Minnie Hannah's 1950 DeSoto Custom. Super cool. And when you get in the car, you're just overwhelmed by the smell of mohair that is so well preserved. It's still soft. Everything is soft. Everything is supple. Even you look closely at the bakelite on the steering wheel, and you can see the pearl sort of texture inside of it. The medallions. It's just the gauges are clear as day. It's really a special car. So we're hoping this car is going to find its way into a collection for somebody that really digs preservation cars, because that's what this is. It's a DeSoto Custom, I get it, but how many cars, 68 years old, do you see that have only 5,000, 6,000 miles on them? This is one of them. And I'll tell you, when you open up the hood and you start looking at those photos, you see the original grease pencil marks from the factory. You see the OK Final stamps on the firewall. You know, we open up the door and there's a sticker in the door for the maintenance guide and record. It's just unscathed, no overspray, nothing. I can tell you the only paintwork I see on the car is that the front left fender has been repainted at some point. We don't know. It wasn't by the current owner. And it's had a little bit of touch up here and there, so expect a little bit of bruising and patina, of course, after 68 years. But it really is amazingly well preserved and really unusual. So anyway, I want to take you for a ride. So hop in and let's go. Let's fire this DeSoto up and take a spin. So here's a little shot of the motor running. You see it runs really smoothly and nicely. What you will notice is there's a stick holding the hood up, and that's because over here, I think it's got the wrong bolt down there, I was told, holding it in there. So I think that's probably fairly fixable. I don't think it's the spring, but it may be. Anyway, it's just so incredibly original under here, and the car really runs nicely. Something kind of cool under the hood too is you can see it's got the original paint on the engine. But if you come over here, you can see the data tag, and you can see the OK stamps that are still under the hood in the different points in the factory. There's the final OK, and there's even a chalk mark up there. So it's just really kind of unusual to be able to see one of these with all the original factory stampings that haven't been worn off or washed out or something at some point. So anyway, it's a great running car and just so cool that it's so original. So the body's so phenomenal on this DeSoto. What I wanted to do was just take you around with the magnet and show you there's just there's no filler in that. I mean, even down here at the corners of the doors, which would be a real weak spot on anything from this era. Just metal as far as we can see. No signs of filler. You know, and as I look at the paint, I can tell the difference between the lacquer paint, of course, which would have been used on this car, and the non-lacquer paint. So I know I'm looking at a lot of original paint on this car, though I do know there's been some touch-up around the car as needed. I think it had some scratches and so forth on the front, and it's had a little bit of hand touch-up, but I mean, it's a phenomenal preservation car. It really is. And anyway, and no filler that I can see at the bottom of the car with the magnet test. So pretty cool. I've got to take you under this DeSoto with insanely low original miles. It's just when I saw the car, I was like, no way. And we put it on the rack and we didn't even clean it. I mean, it's really quite amazing. Check this out. Got a little bit of oil over the years blowing onto the oil pan. Nothing serious, just typical. But look at the floors and the frame. It's pretty phenomenal. We get up in here to the inner rear quarters, you know, totally clean. There on the passenger side, in the inner rockers. There's no rust anywhere here. Hey, so thanks for checking out our cool 50 DeSoto. Be sure to check out our website at leftcoastclassics.com. Social media sites, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we have a killer YouTube channel with millions of views and hundreds of great car videos. Be sure to check me out on the Velocity channel with Mike Brewer on Wheeler Dealers, Season 15, Episode 8, and Season 11, Episode 8. We always get lucky 8 on the episodes on Wheeler Dealers. All right, until next time.